It's just me and the lovely Rachel. Say hi, Rachel.
Hello, everyone.
Do a big Blue Peter wave. Talking to you guys about third wheel dates. Season with Salt meets third wheel dates, behind the scenes, all access. If you have questions about the show, drop us a message and I'd love to answer them. I feel like we can get into kind of lulls where there are some people who've said no and I'm like, yeah, I totally see that. You know, I can see that you've heard enough that you know yourself well enough to know that there'd be no point going on a second date because you don't want to lead that person on, and it's really not. It's just that, you know, like it's not in your wheelhouse to be a part of that relationship.
Yes, yeah. There
are other people who I'm like, you have been short-sighted.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say names. Not on camera. But it does happen, and I do feel like sometimes like, okay, I get that maybe it surprises me when someone says like, you know, I feel like there's space to learn more about them, but then they don't go for the second date.
Yes.
You know? Like, this is a maybe, but I'm not going to go for the second date. It's like, if it's a maybe, it's a yes.
Yeah,
you know?
No, I agree.
Like, and actually, okay, here's a little bit of backstage information, which I'm pretty sure I've already told you, but I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to say who, but one of the blokes got on really well with his date, but wasn't expecting to.
Yeah.
And thought like, okay, legitimately, I want to go on a second date with her.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was going to happen. He had come on having calculated that it would be a very efficient way to meet women.
Right.
Because he could get the URL.
Yep.
Yeah. And then women would watch it and they'd see all about him. And then he'd know that they're attracted to him, so he could just message them.
Great.
Right? Sure. Is it great? It's an interesting approach, okay? And then he realised, okay, it'd be pretty inauthentic to say no. So to say URL when I want an IRL.
Yeah.
So up in the green room after the date, before we filmed the decision, he tried to get her away from the Salt team. So he could say to her, can we agree we'll both go URL?
Saving face.
Yeah, so that we can get the links, so that we can get people applying to date us, but we'll still go on a date and see if we get on. Yeah. And she said no. If you want to go on a date with me, you'll go IRL. Yeah. And I can't say what happened because it'll narrow it down. But yeah, and it was after that, because we had a lot of discussions about that as a team, because we were like, we don't want these calculated people coming on being, you know, having already rejected the person sitting next to them because they've decided the URL is the prize, right? Yeah. So we decided that even if you say IRL, if you down the line end up not dating, at some point we'll release a video with a follow-up, like here you are now, here you are now, here you are now, with those links, just to make sure that people would be as honouring as we felt they should be. Yeah, yeah. Also, though, we don't want those people back if that's your plan. No. No. We want people who are excited about the person sitting in front of them, not about the potential next shiny thing. That's like everything that's wrong with the dating apps. Okay, let's go to the end of the date, because you and I had the same outcome. Yeah. Okay, so what was your rationale behind going IRL, right? Was it love at first sight? Oh my gosh, this is my husband, of course I have to do this. Or was it like, and actually something people probably don't realise is how little time the couples get to chat to each other. Like, and we do create time outside of that, and we always encourage people to grab a drink afterwards or coffee afterwards. Yeah. But, and there's a bit of chat sort of up in the green room when we're resetting and things. Yes. But overall, they're probably in the same room with us fussing about for about an hour and a half. Yeah. And that's not solid conversation. No, it's not. You know, so I think for me, I'm always, you know, pleased when the posture is give this more time, because it's not that much time, you know. So what were you thinking?
I have a rule, actually, that if I go on a first date with someone and we're not, like, it's not like we were friends and been on a date. Like, if this is getting to know somebody stage, and we've been on a first date, if there isn't any immediate, like,
red flag dangerous.
Yeah, like, you know what, this just isn't going anywhere. Then I will always go on a second, because the first one's awkward. Everyone's always nervous.
Second date's always better than the first date.
It takes time for people's walls to come down, I think. Yeah. Especially if you don't really know each other before. Yeah. So I kind of went in the, Miles was like great laugh, was up for everything, and not a bad looking guy.
No,
so I was like, there is no reason why I wouldn't. So when IRL, great, would happily invest another date worth of time in this person.
And so pay for the date.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're down 50 quid now because you guys didn't go on a date.
Yeah,
so.
Miles.
Transfer,
you
Rachel,
owe me
50 quid. Yeah, I agree. And there are a few times, like I said, where I feel a bit frustrated that the other person hasn't just taken that same leap, you know? Because I'm like, I mean, how do you know, you know? And when someone's like only got positive things to say about, I'm not criticising Miles specifically.
No,
this is
yes,
like on the whole. Sometimes I really see it, and sometimes I'm like, I think you made a really, not like a big mistake, like that was going to be your husband or that was going to be your wife.
No.
But like, I think you would have had a lovely experience if you'd given this another whirl, you know, and
But also looking at the other person's perspective, I can imagine for some people that it's safer to go URL if you're not sure how the other person's feeling, and the vulnerability of going, you don't
want to be the one who says yes when the other one says no. Okay, yeah.
And I mean, I hope it's not that.
Yeah, I totally get that though.
But it can be.
Yeah,
it's an odd situation. It's really fun, but like you said, there's not masses of time.
Yeah,
and then you're putting yourself up for.
I think that end bit's like a bit brutal.
Oh, it is.
You know, like for a Christian dating show, it's a little bit brutal, isn't it? Because on like first dates, they say at the end, like, do you guys want to go on a date? But they say it to both of them. So they can kind of be like, oh, do you want to go first? And that way, if you know you're going to say no, the kind thing to do is to get in there first and say, do you know what, for me, I don't. And then that person could be like, me too.
Neither. Yeah.
Nah,
safe face.
You're right, exactly. Rather than letting someone say yes. But because we do it at the same time, it's like, there's nowhere to hide. Yeah. You know, like, and people don't, apart from that one guy who was a bit shady, talk about like what decision they're going to make beforehand. Yeah. So actually, it's a leap of vulnerability.
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely what the show is about.
Yeah.
And it is funny and it is fun and it's, you know, all of that kind of stuff. But like, you definitely should not go on a second date with someone if you're certain you don't want to. Yeah. You know, because I would have walked away thinking he fancied. I did walk away thinking he fancied. I probably still think he fancies me a bit. I think he's just confused. I'm joking. I'm quite clear that he doesn't fancy me, just in case that wasn't. Yeah, I think that is clear. I tell you what's changed. Since we did that, since we filmed that, and that was the last episode we filmed of season 2. For season 3, if one person says yes and one person says no, before they film a reaction, I say, we need to fiddle with the sound a little bit before we move on. And I get the person who said no, who said URL, out of the room. Yeah. And we just chill for a bit. Yeah. And just give them 5 minutes to be like, oh, I don't know if I was expecting that, or maybe they were. Yeah. You know, but okay, there's been a mismatch. How do I respond with the most amount of dignity and a way that truly reflects how I feel? Because, you know, you weren't in love with Mars. I was in love with Sam, but it does take a little bit of a like calculation, like, oh, okay, I wonder how I'm going to reply to that.
Yeah, I think
just to give people that space. Oh, I'm
because
sorry.
I think and I think it's, for me, it's okay because I'm quite a confident person. Like, I'm quite good at holding my own, and I'm quite good at quick reactions. But I think, and I did notice this as one of the things I noticed when I watched it back. You can see it in my eyes. It suddenly goes. Like, and I don't know whether it's because I'm watching me that I can suddenly see my cogs turning.
Certainly didn't see that, but you know yourself.
It would have been nice to, I think, have some time to go, right, gutted, but whatever. To get all that out. Whereas I think it was almost I was in panic mode to go, okay, right, I'm like this is fine, but
hands up, who's fine? Like Ross and Friends. Yeah. I'm fine. Are you fine? I'm hands up, who's fine? You're like, it's fine. I'm totally fine. I'm not worried at all. You're crying. It's just in that moment you just need a second to process. I genuinely don't think anyone who's been on the show has been like heartbroken.
Oh no,
by any stretch. No. But I do think, as you say,
it's still rejection.
Some people, some people just need a sec to be like, okay, never mind. You know?
Sting.
And we weren't offering that before. It was just straight away like, okay, well, why have you decided not to go on a second date? Oh, what do you think of that? And it's like, actually, I realised when I was in that position, I just wanted a sec to go like, okay, what am I going to say to this idiot? I really do like him. I really like him. He's so great. He's not an idiot. Click on the URL and ask him out.